Crystal Wade here with Let's Wade In. So glad you could join us today. We've been talking about the gift of leadership. The fourth element in the gift of leadership is to wait. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot of fun, but when you are a leader, timing is really important. And so if you wait, you get in sync with God's timing. And if you don't, it takes a lot more time, a lot more trouble. Now, we see this in the life of Joseph. At least by the time he was a teenager, the Heavenly Father was speaking to him in dreams and giving him very vivid, very great dreams about his future. And Joseph shared those dreams with his family. Now, you would think that you could share your dreams with your family, and sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't. What was happening in Joseph's family was that the family dynamic was such that he had a lot of brothers, and his father liked him the most, and all the other brothers knew that. So the other brothers were jealous of Joseph, and they didn't like him, and Joseph could not do or say anything right. And so when he told them his dreams, that made them hate him even more. So I want to just say an aside to you right here. If you are in a situation where there is hostility around you in your family or your school or church, wherever it is, it will not help by you telling them something good for your life. Hold that to yourself. That's God encouraging you, okay? That's also part of waiting. If Joseph had waited on that, it would have helped him. Anyways, back to the story. So Joseph's brothers, they brimmed over the top, got mad, crazy mad, and sold him as a slave. And so he instantly lost his home and his family, and he was a slave in Egypt for several years. And in that time, he was handling himself before God the Father in an honorable way. And he kept handling, even though he was went from the top to the bottom in one day, he was still walking with the Heavenly Father with integrity and honor. And everywhere he went, he rose to the top. Even though he was a prisoner, even though he was thrown in jail, he kept rising to the top in all of those places. But you know what? It was hard for Joseph to wait during that time. But the reason he had to wait is because he was a leader. The Father was preparing Joseph to be the fullness of the leader that the Father had called him to be, which, by the way, was leader to a nation and then a group of nations. So it was a very, very big leadership call that was on Joseph's life, and it took time for the Heavenly Father to grow him into the fullness of who he was called to be. And that took waiting on Joseph's part as the Father was doing this work within him. And then the other situation, the other part of that, was God was preparing Joseph for a job that wasn't ready yet. And so the nation, which was Egypt, did not know that they had a problem that Joseph was the answer to. So Joseph had to wait on two fronts. One, for the Father's work in his life, and two, for the Father's work in the nation. And when those were both ready, Joseph stepped into that leadership calling, having waited. So he went through the waiting test, stepped into it at the right time, in the right place. And he saved that nation, Egypt, and he saved many other nations as a result. Many lives were saved because of the leadership gift on Joseph and because Joseph went through that process and waited. Okay? So when it feels like the road is hard and the wait is long, maybe, beloved son or daughter, because the Father is preparing you to be a much bigger leader than what you thought. And he's also preparing the timing in the nation so that you can step into that position and bring the solution that he has put in you. So waiting on the Father is worth it, and you'll be in sync with his timing. Now you can read this yourself. It is in Genesis chapter 37 and also chapters 39 through 47. Joseph is honored with several chapters in Genesis about his particular story. So, I bless you. I bless your leadership gift. I bless you with grace as you're waiting, that you would be on time with the Father's destiny for your life. So remember, go with God and go for the gold.